So, welcome to the Treasury Elite Leadership Series. I would like to thank all our viewers and members for supporting this noble cause of Treasury Elite, whose main objective is networking, knowledge sharing, and mentoring. Time and again, we bring in world class speakers and thought leaders across the world in the field of Treasury, global financial markets, management, and leadership, and conduct various programs, webinars, and conferences in different formats. Treasury Elite Leadership Series is one such format where we learn from industry thought leaders about their experiences of running their businesses, opportunities and challenges they encounter, and what trends they see for the future. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Abhishek Goenka, founder of IFA Global and Treasury Elite. We bring in world class FX and treasury practices for companies across India for the last 15 years. And today we have Mr. Lalit Malik, one of the distinguished names in the CFO community. Lalitji is working as a chief financial officer in Dabur India Limited. He has over 30 years of experience in various functions of finance accounts, treasury, mergers and acquisitions, legal, secretarial and taxation in India and abroad. Prior to Dabur, he has worked with various firms like Philip, Gillette, P&G, American Express, Moser Beer, etc. Lalitji is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, uh, bachelor's of general law, that is LLB, Institute of Company Secretaries, that is, he's a company secretary also, and a qualified CPA from the State Board of Colorado, USA. He has received various awards and accolades as one of the most influential CFOs in India by SIMA, and he's been ranked among the top 3 CFOs by Business World magazine in consistent liquidity management category. Welcome, Lalitji. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I'm doing very fine. I hope everything is fine with you too.
Great. Glad to have you today as a part of the Treasury Elite Leadership Series. In the next 35 minutes, we will love to learn about your experiences. So, my first question to you, Lalitji, is we would love to know about your transition across various roles, career progressions, and 3 major learnings that you have had over all these years. If you could share some examples.
Sure. I think my journey has been well planned and also good opportunities that I got. So I started in finance with Philips and moved on to taxation, which is direct and indirect taxation, and being qualified company secretary and law professional, became the company secretary and legal head for Philips. So over a plan of 9 years, I had a great experience and exposures. Worked on some of the key strategic initiatives during this period, and then moved on to other functions like treasury, taxation, M&As, restructuring, etc. with Gillette, and also I got an opportunity to work abroad and look for the corporate office of Gillette in Boston, and had a great opportunity to look at strategy, foreign exchange, and transfer pricing areas for their globe functions. Also wrote transfer pricing policy for their all 130 odd country presence. So they were a great experience, and then I had a good opportunity for the merger of Gillette with Procter & Gamble. So that gave a great opportunity to see how we synchronize the operation post mergers, because statistical data shows that more than 80% of M&A fail because they take their eyes off post acquisitions. Now that's where I think main focus is required. So a great learning to ensure that how M&As are successful, and there are very few such examples, and Gillette and P&G is one of them. So again, wonderful learning. One area which I had not touched upon was share services. So moved to American Express and got that opportunity to work on the US GAAP reporting sitting in India with more than 130 countries again to consolidate and have the SEC filing, look for Basel II, Basel III compliances, etc. So great opportunity, and then had a different role on power sector and also on the technology with Moser Beer, and then again back to FMCG. Again, great opportunities, but there are new areas which have become much more relevant considering that we are into VUCA world with regard to risk management, with regard to corporate governance, with regard to sustainability. So those have been, incremental areas where a lot of focus is required, both at a national level as well as at an international level. So I think journey is very enriching, very pleasant. I would still say that the most important aspect is, you talked about the learning, is that in this profession one needs to continue to remain as a student, because as long as you continue to learn, you continue to grow. It's the day when you stop learning, you stop growing. So I think that has been a wonderful learning that I got, and I think is one of the very, very important learning, that one must keep on looking for new areas, new opportunities, and learnings, and upgrading, upskilling oneself. So that has been a great learning. The second one, which I got a very important learning in the You Can Win by Shiv Khera, which has talked about doing right things versus doing things right. So every time when you have to make a decision, one needs to choose between what is right and what is shortcut, and appears to be easy in the short run, but may have an issue in the long run. So taking the right decision, maybe it's difficult one, but that's very important while choosing. And every step in life, one needs to take those decisions. So that has been another very, very important learning that I got. And the third one, since you talked about, I would say that uh, when I got my entry in the corporate world with all my qualifications of CACS, ICWA law, CPA, etc., my senior told me that when you want to start your career, your technical competence plays major role in getting an entry, maybe 75 or 80%. But as you want to grow ladder in the corporate world, you need to focus on your soft skills, your leadership skills, your strategic skills. And it's only those skills that can take you to the top. So that has been a very, very important and crucial learning that I got, that technical knowledge is always important, but it is your softer skills, your teamwork, your leadership skills, your strategic skills, your collaboration skills. I think that's what makes you work with the team and multiply yourself to achieve the success and the results. So I think that has been a wonderful learning that I got, and I keep that in mind whenever I work.
That's pretty interesting. So Lalitji says that continuous learning is the base. I mean, that's what even Mahatma Gandhi said, that you have to continuously learn till the end. I mean, don't even think whether you are at 60 or 70s or 80s that your learning stops. Whereas, you have to, of course, become the student of everything and continuously learn. And also, you have to choose your options, as Tony Robbins says, that your option decides and the choices decide how your life is going to take forward. And lastly, as Mr. Lalit said, that, sir, what was the last point which you mentioned?
Doing right things versus doing things right.
Right.
That's another thing that I talked.
And the EQ part which you mentioned, that initially IQ can take you,
Yes.
but
Technical
slowly
skill
and
versus
steadily.
the leadership skills.
Yeah, the EQ is a very, very important part, which the leaders, it's very important for the leaders to drive that message to the team and then build up the firm or the company accordingly. So that's very, very interesting. So, sir, with regards to the FMCG sector and the overall healthcare industry, what are the major trends that are you seeing going ahead, and what are the technological changes you are seeing in the industry? And uh, what is the one thing that companies in your industry should do to gear up for 2025?
Sure. I think number one, what we have seen is that awareness about healthcare has actually gone up tremendously. So that has been one of the key factors. Due to Corona, people have become very much health conscious, and as a result of it, being in the healthcare sector and being in the Ayurvedic sector, a lot of importance is being given on the health and preventive measures, and that has helped in terms of driving the demand. And therefore, I think focus on healthcare and hygiene, that's the other very important aspect that I think the focus is there right now. And therefore, the industries are moving towards meeting the essentials, number one, meeting the healthcare, which is preventive or remedial in the sense. And third is the hygiene. So that has been the trend that's emerging. And also considering the fact that there is a pressure on the earnings, a lot of low unit packs are becoming very, very popular because people want to try and test before they want to invest a large amount into it. So I think these three things are becoming very important and relevant. Coming to technology, I think in any organization, technology is the strong backbone, and the growth happens only based on the technology evolutions or transition, as we may call it. And I'm just remembered of 2008 crisis. Post that, we have seen a lot of technology-based companies coming up as a sunrise industries, whether they were Ola, Uber, Airbnb, etc. So they were less capital intensive, but more technology based growth that we have seen. And now, considering the fact that we are in corona scenario, and people have a social distancing as the norm, technology is playing a very important and vital role to connect with people given the social distancing, and yet take faster decisions, take appropriate decisions, involve people, because now there is no restriction that you can have only 4 or 5, you can have more than 1,000 people also if required. So you can reach out to people faster, you can take decisions faster, the physical distance has no more a bottleneck, and also a digital is playing a very important role. When we talk about whether it's WhatsApp, or whether it is Zoom, whether it is Team meetings, etc. So the reaching out is easier now to people, and getting their feedback in a faster way is also possible now at a most economical way. So therefore, it has shortened the time of getting the feedback. It is shortened the time to reach out to consumers, and it is shortened the time with regard to getting the growth potentials through digital. So I think technology is changing the way one operated in the past versus what is likely to happen going forward. And since you talked about 2025, I think my understanding is that all the evolution will be based on technology. We are talking about 5G coming into play, and I think technology is going to change the way we operate, and is going to change the way the business is going to run. So I think a lot of change will happen only where people will adopt to these changes and be on the forefront to gain the advantage of this technological evolution. So that's what I see going forward, maybe for 3, 4, 5 years from
Sure, sure, sure. Things are changing very fast, and technology is something that one needs to keep a constant watch. And of course, things have become more efficient. I mean, it must be very easy for you to actually contact your distributors and your strategic contributors, etc. So my next question to you is that you have had experiences in various verticals. Now, what are the major financial innovations or transformations that you or your company have undertaken, which have given you a significant edge uh, in addition to your EBIT? Maybe some idea that you can share which has had significantly in your overall EBIT, and it could be in the area of cash management, asset liability management, capital structures, credit ratings, asset liability management, etc. If any examples that you could share that could benefit the entire viewers of the treasury community.
Sure. I think, first of all, very important thing that we have worked upon, learning from my Amex American Express days, is to develop the shared services within the organization. Since we have around 25 to 30% business outside India, that has been the simplest way of having the cost arbitrage and help in terms of the cost saving, and yet talking about consistency, control, compliances, and also continuous improvement, which is what my 5 C's I talk about as my finance mantra. So that has helped us to improve efficiencies and reduce cost by introducing shared services and developing those shared services, not only just for India operations, which is almost 70% of the business, but also international business. So that has been one area. Number 2 is looking at technology to do away with the manual compilation part, because I think the the expectation from finance role is not to be being counters, but invest more time in terms of analytical reports and also help business take decisions. So easing out time through technology investments by automating the processes so that a time is available to spend more on the value added processes, which can be more analytical and which can be more decision making support that's required from that perspective. Number three I would talk about is to improve control and corporate governance. I think that has been another very, very important area. So built in all the control mechanism into the processes, whether it is SOPs or DOA or automation of the processes, to bring in those control, because IFC has become one of the key drivers, which is the internal financial control compliances. So in order to meet that requirement and also ensure appropriate corporate governance, I think that has been another very important area which has helped to have. And I think any corporate organizations are not just valued based on their profitability, but they are also valued in terms of their corporate governance, in terms of their social responsibilities, and in terms of their environmental area. So providing all the areas support from finance, I think, has been one of the key drivers to look at it. And also on the strategic initiatives, we just launched a project Samriddhi to have not only cost reduction drive but also cost optimization drive, because the question is to only cut the fats and not the bones, but also invest where it is required to help in terms of growing the business. So that has been another very, very important area. With regard to the liquidity, I think again extremely important to reduce the borrowings and also make it cash surplus, so that the liquidity helps to gain opportunities as and when that's required. So I think that has been a proper planning and also execution that has helped in terms of the business.
Sure. So, sir, you have spent a considerable time in overall risk management and treasury. So, what are the various forms of enterprise risk that firms like yours are exposed to, and your advice in managing FX and interest rate risk? I mean, do you have any specific FX and interest rate hedging model based on historical or VAR model? And what is the kind of stress testing or scenario analysis that you do to check the impact on your profitability?
Sure. See, I think we are all living in VUCA world, and this is the extreme of uncertainty that we are all in. So therefore, the risk management becomes extremely important. And for that reason, we have implemented a very strong risk management framework, which talks about bottoms up inputs that is coming from the organization and also top down. And we have a very strong monitoring mechanism at every quarter and also presenting to the board. And the areas of risk can go anywhere. It can be including the forex risk or the country risk or availability of raw materials or technological changes or IT cyber risk, etc. So therefore, I think we look at very holistic way with regard to the risk that is prevalent due to the external factors and probably due to internal factors at times too, and also taking the remedial actions in advance and monitoring the progress of those actions. I think that has been the focus of having an effective risk management framework. Coming with regard to the hedging part, as I said, we do have approximately 25 to 30% of our business outside India, and we do have exports and imports. So I think a couple of things are very important here. One, to look at the natural hedging wherever possible between import and exports. Second, have a very strong hedging policy and implementation so that we do not keep any risk exposed, and we hedge our risk with regard to the forex changes, because one has to keep in mind that the currencies fluctuate in view of this uncertainty, and it can be extremely volatile in specific scenarios, and therefore it is very important not to have that risk in future. And therefore we have a very strong hedging policy and the implementation to cover our exposure so that we do not run any future risk or a liability there, and we monitor and execute those on a very, very regular basis.
Sure, sir. Sure. Sir, Dabur was founded in 1884 by Mr. S.K. Burman. Uh, Take me through the culture of Dabur and how do you bring consistency on how organization acts and things, and how do you ensure that culture does not get isolated in the corner office?
Sure. I think, if we look at historically, there are very few organizations which has not only survived for more than 100 years, but have grown exponentially, and Dabur is one of them. As I said earlier, Dabur is a healthcare Ayurvedic company, and we have not left our core at any given point in time. On the contrary, we have only strengthened our core. So all the product categories that we talk about, healthcare has been the backbone of all the product innovations that we got. And at the same time, over a period of time, we have kept on acquiring businesses which has synergy to our current business, whether we acquired Balsara business or Fem business or internationally Namaste or Hobby Cosmetics. So there are many acquisitions on the way that we did, but the whole objective has been to have synergies with our existing category, to strengthen our core, and more importantly, to focus on the quality of products. Because I think any product quality is extremely important. So that has been the highest priority for us in terms of any products that we sell. And at the same time, with changes in the time, we have also come back with the innovative products to offer to our consumers. And give you a couple of examples, since you talked on the Chyawanprash, is we understand that the taste of Chyawanprash is not something which kids like. So we came out with chocolate flavored Chyawanprash. We came out with fruit mixed fruit flavored Chyawanprash. And similarly, we kept on changing our format on many product categories as we move ahead and move forward. So that is how we have kept on innovating our products to meet the changing demand or changing requirement of our consumers, so that we can not only target the one set of consumer, but all across in all age group. Now coming back to again the same Chyawanprash example, so we address children by having the chocolate and the mixed fruit Chyawanprash, but for the senior people we introduced Ratan Prash, which has more ingredients than the Chyawanprash. And we also understood that there are people who have diabetes, so we came out with sugar-free Chyawanprash. So therefore, we kept on evolving with the need of consumers, so that it can help in all category of people, whether they are young, they are children, they are old, they have some health problems. So that's how we have evolved and introduced products, and we continue to do that. So that has been the kind of culture. So number one, focus on quality. Number two, focus on innovation. Number three, ensuring that we change with timing, right? And also reaching out to the vaster people possible by expanding our distribution network. So I think that has been the key focus for us in Dabur.
So of course, sir, you have been synonymous with innovation and quality. But along with that, over the journey, you have built a very trusted brand, which people can comfortably purchase without even thinking. I mean, if Dabur comes out with something, people, the brand recall is so strong, they'll just pick it up from the shelf. So tell us a little bit about the brand philosophy. How did this evolve, and what are the activities that you do internally in the firm to make sure that trust remains with people?
Right. See, as I just mentioned a couple of minutes before, that quality has been the prime focus for us. We are largest in terms of Ayurvedic products, and we have very strong R&D team, which does a lot of research and comes out with products which are beneficial to the people at large, and making sure that they are based on the granthas and on the literature, so that they do not have any other side effects, but on the other hand they give you a lot of health benefit. And that's where when I talked about that, we have come out with aloe vera juice, or come out with haldi drops, or with tulsi drops, etc. That has been, kind of ingredients which everybody in the household understands, and it doesn't have any side effect, but we ensure that it has the highest quality standards. So that the point that you talked about, trust. So when a consumer comes to buy a product of honey, or comes to buy a product of Chyawanprash, he trusts that it is of the highest quality, and therefore he is not afraid to give it to his kids to eat those products. So therefore, our focus has been always on giving the highest quality of our products, and to ensure that we keep on innovating to give the benefit to people. So that has been our main area, and we have a very strong R&D support that we have, which probably is unparalleled in the industry. So that's how we have been able to not only maintain but gain the trust of our consumers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the best career advice that you have ever received? And as a veteran, what are the areas or skills that you would want emerging CFOs or finance professionals in your field to invest their time in? And what impresses you the most when you're looking to hire someone?
Sure. I think the most important learning that I have got is that it is good to be a technically sound professional, but it is extremely important to be a good human being. And what it means is that, apart from your technical expertise, you need to respect people, need to be open for their different views, and need to be collaborative to work together, and have compassion even if when you are having a difficult discussion. So I think that has been a wonderful learning that I've got. And in career, which I just mentioned some time back, that when you start your career, your technical competence plays a very important role to get an entry. But if you really want to succeed, your soft skills are going to play a very critical and important role. And in that, your continuous learning process is extremely important. One needs to accept the mistakes, or be willing to change with time and learn, so that you not only improve yourself but also have a competitive edge. So I think to all our professional colleagues, my advice to them will be not to be comfortable and sit on their laurels. I think it's a great profession to be in finance, but I think must have a very sharp eye on changes that are taking place, and continuously keep upskilling and upgrading oneself, and have a broader picture in mind. And last but not the least, be solution oriented. In today's environment, one needs to support, either you are part of a problem or part of a solution. So one need to be solution oriented with regard to the business demand and business changes. I think that is going to be the crux of future success, and the way the function is going to undergo a change going forward. So that's what I would.
So be solution oriented is what Lalitji feels. And of course, learning is a continuous process. And of course, once again, EQ becomes very, very relevant as you go up in the ladder. So we want to know more about you as a person, and give me one fun fact about you what people don't know.
Well, sure. I love to travel, love to watch comedy movies. I'm more into the meditation and numerology, palmistry, etc. So that has been my hobby and my passion besides my technical work. But I love to travel. I love to explore new places. I think that has been one of my fun time, and also spend time with my family. I think that has been my most precious time when I get the time to spend with my family.
Great, great. So Lalitji, it's been a wonderful conversation with you. I mean, the community consists of entrepreneurs, CFOs, treasurers, and host of people from India and across the world who've been watching this. And I think there was various learnings that you bring in today. Especially the one I liked was, of course, in terms of how technical gives you an entry, but ultimately you need to varnish your skills, and you need to make sure that people like you, and they follow you, just to make sure that you grow up in your ladder. And of course, learning is a continuous activity. And of course, innovations is a continuous exercise. So there's a lot of rich learning that we have had while having a conversation with you one-on-one. And thank you so much for taking your time. And I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you. I look forward to have you again in the future leadership series talks or in the face-to-face seminars sometime in Bombay. And thank you once again for your time.
Thanks
Thank
a
you very
lot
much.
for this opportunity to interact with you, and it's always a mutual learning and enriching experience to interact with professionals like you and to be people at large, and look forward to many more such opportunities. So thanks for this time, and also wish you all the best and stay safe